Hello, and thank you for choosing Kind Water. In this video, I want to take you through the installation of a multi-stage well water system. When installing a well water system, it's very important to make sure that you have the system installed in the proper spot. In our example, we have a typical well head with a pump and a pressure tank. With any regenerating or cleaning system, the system needs to be installed after the pressure tank. In our example, we have a 1-inch CPVC loop that is on an interior wall right after the pressure tank. We know that our loop is flowing from right to left, so that's how we'll install our entire system. Before we cut into the plumbing, we need to make sure we turn off the main water supply. This can be done by simply turning off a ball valve after the pressure tank or turning off the breaker to your well pump. Either way, you'll need to go to the nearest faucet to relieve the pressure. Once the water comes to a stop, we're ready to cut into the loop and start our plumbing connections. It is recommended to plumb in a bypass around the entire system. This allows you to continue to have raw water inside of the home while isolating the system for any types of service or repairs. Bypass valves have 3 ball valves incorporated in them. You have a supply valve, a return valve, and a bypass valve. In our scenario, our supply comes in from the well on the right-hand side. The return is what brings water from the system to the home. Ball valves are on when the handle is parallel with the flow of water. They are off when they are perpendicular to the flow of water. In this configuration, with the supply on, the return on, and the bypass off, that is called in service, meaning water is going to, in, and out and back to the home through the system. The next configuration is in bypass. That's where your supply valve is off, your return valve is off, and your bypass valve is on. This will prevent water from going in and out of the system and simply bypass the entire system. This way, you will get straight raw water to the home. You would put your system into this configuration for any types of repairs needed to the system while maintaining water to still flow to the house. The third configuration is for maintenance. This will allow you to turn the water off to the system and be able to go to the nearest faucet to relieve the pressure. All you need to do is turn the supply valve off. After building my bypass, I like to set out all of the components that make up the system. I like to move them around, make sure that I like the placement before I start making my connections. With the system now laid out, I'll start plumbing and installing the individual components. The first component in our system is going to be a 100 micron sand filter. It does not have a bracket, it is simply supported by the plumbing. And again, our system is flowing from right to left, so we'll make sure that the inlet is on the right and the outlet is on the left. Next, I'll start to assemble the 5-micron particulate filter. Now I can take the buildup for the particulate filter and line it up with my plumbing. It is ideal to try to get 2 of the holes into a stud. The other 2 can be supported by drywall anchors. Next, I need to prep my male adaptions for the particulate filter. I'll start with 5 or 6 wraps of Teflon tape and follow up with some thread sealant. For thread sealant, we recommend True Blue by Rector Seal. It should be available at all of your big box stores. Next, I'm going to install the bypass valves for all of the regenerating tanks. All you have to do is snap it in and tighten the thumb screws. Next, I need to install the 1-inch male adaptions to the bypass valve, pop them in, and tighten the thumb screws. Now, with any male adaptation, you should use 5 or 6 wraps of Teflon tape, followed up with the thread sealant. Next, I need to prep the backwash line elbow. Now, this connection is not under constant pressure, so I'll just use 5 or 6 wraps of Teflon tape. And just like the other connections, we're going to pop it in and tighten the thumb screw. As of right now, we've got the heads of the 100 micron sand filter and the 5 micron particulate filter plumbed in, as well as the iron manganese sulfur filter, backwashing carbon filter, and a salt-based water softener, all plumbed in. Next, I'm going to install the UV disinfection system. Keep in mind when choosing the placement for the chamber, you'll need to leave enough room to be able to remove and replace both the lamp and sleeve. Once I determine the height for the system, I'll mark out 2 spots for the brackets. In this case, I'm spreading them out 12 inches. Where I want to install it, there is no stud, so I'm pre-drilling a couple of holes for some butterfly anchors. With the brackets up, I can go ahead and snap in the UV chamber. Next, I need to install the bracket clamps. And I'll continue my plumbing connections. At this point, I have finished all of my plumbing connections. I just need to work on the finishing details. I'll start by installing the 100 micron sand filter and cover. Next, I can install the sediment filter to the sump of the particulate filter and screw it on. Hand tighten and then follow up with the wrench. Next, I can install the backwash drain lines. Your drain line should be ran to a spot that can handle a large amount of water flow. Now, I'll run a small piece of drain line to the overflow elbow on the brine tank. Next, I'll install the brine line from the salt-based water softener to the brine tank. These are John Guest fittings, so you just fully engage the tubing to make your connection. Now I can install the sleeve to the UV system. Make sure not to touch the sleeve with your bare fingers. Next, I need to install the O-ring. Now I can install the gland nut. No tools required. It does have a positive stop. Next, I'll install the lamp spring. Now I can install the UV lamp, again making sure not to touch the quartz with my bare fingers. Now I need to install the UV power supply. With my marks made and leveled, I'll drill a couple of 3/16 inch holes for some drywall anchors. Next, I'll attach the lamp plug to the lamp. It only connects one way, and then it's a quarter turn to get it to engage into the gland nut. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, I'm now ready to attach the grounding screw to the grounding nut. Next, I'll attach the plug to the power supply, but I'm not ready to plug it into power yet. And lastly, I'll install the UV key. Now, our system is fully installed, and we need to go through the startup procedures. To start, we need to put all of our regenerating tanks into bypass. The picture shown shows the system in service, which means water would flow in and out of the tank. We need them in bypass, so we'll move them to this position, where the water does not enter and exit the tank. It simply bypasses through the plumbing. At this point, we're ready to turn the main water supply back on to the system. Make sure that the nearest faucet is still open. This will allow water to flow through and expel any trapped air. Once the water comes to smooth flow, turn it off and allow the system to pressurize. Now we can start plugging the systems into power. Now I'm ready to plug in the UV power supply. The startup procedure for the UV takes about 2.5 minutes in real time. For video purposes, we've sped it up, but ultimately, you're looking for the check mark and the 365-day counter. Now, I'm ready to put each of the regenerating tanks through a regeneration cycle. I'll start from the right to the left, opening each of the bypass valves one at a time, allowing the system to go through a regeneration, and then opening up the next and the next until all three have gone through regeneration cycles. Your system is now ready for use. If you have questions with your installation, give us a call at 888-614-5559.